Hi, so this is about the question. The question was, how do I deal with players who aren't aiming for the top, like who are just going for, having fun in solo queue or getting relaxed or just ranking up, but they don't want to be like the best in the world. And then that's the part I'm going to answer first, and then the follow-up was, how do I rank up in solo queue? So let me touch on those two, and I'll give you a little bit of scenery if I can flip the camera around. Okay, well I can't flip the camera around, so maybe I'll just move the camera around while I'm doing this. Okay, it's about negative 11 degrees out, so that's why it's a little bit cold here. Got my gloves on. It's downtown vascular. So I love working with players who aren't aiming for the top because everything is so much easier. Like when I'm working with players who are aiming for the top, they're so afraid of actually having those kind of aspirational goals. Like most of my work is just helping them stop being terrified and kind of like playing the way that they need to play, getting the attitude they need to have. And to be honest, to be brutally honest, most of the players that I'm working with who say they want to make it to the top don't actually. And so that makes it even harder because my job is to help them realize that they don't want it as bad as they think they do, and that's why they're not being successful. So that's how I deal with athlete well-being, is kind of helping them be realistic that, like, if they want to really do this thing, then this is what's required, and this is the kind of goal that you need to set, and helping them deal with the fact that maybe that's not where their heart lies necessarily. And there's a lot of great research in sports psychology on career transitioning, and so that is something that I deal with, hope to deal with quite regularly. And I've only talked to 2 people with it so far, and it's been really helpful for both of them to go through this activity, this set of exercises with them where we discuss it's essentially what's important to you, what kind of career you're aiming for, what do you spend your time on, what stresses you out, that kind of stuff. Okay, so moving on to the second. What does that sound? Oh, somebody's beating a rug. It's like negative 11 outside. Jeez. Okay, anyway. How do you rank up in solo queue if you're not aiming for the top? My practical advice is to pretend that you're essentially playing 5 people for fun against a bot game, against a team of bots, but that you actually queue up for ranked. So the whole idea of joy comes from you trying to accomplish what you want to do yourself in complete control of your game, ignoring your opponents. You're trying to beat yourself. Because if you're not trying to aim for the top, then you don't need to have a competitive mindset against other people. You need to have it against yourself. Or you will be constantly frustrated because 50% of the time or more, you're going to be losing. And you can count on that because that's how the ladder statistics systems work. So you're just going to be constantly frustrated because you're going to be losing half of your games. So you need to find a way to take joy in defeat and to find joy in victory when you're not the one who caused it. Because a lot of people also, they play a game and they're just unsatisfied at the end, even when they win, because they feel like they didn't get to carry. They didn't get to get to the perfect build. They didn't get to dominate their opponent completely. And so they're just unhappy and they queue up for another game, right? So what are you going to the game for? Are you going to be satisfied with is your satisfaction in conquering the other person and things like that? So you need to analyze what behaviors you can control and what behaviors you can't necessarily control, like whether or not your opponent is good and is going to stomp you, whether or not your teammates are going to hate on you for everything that you do. And then go into the game with a mindset of simple mastery over yourself and your own kind of condition and play. And I recommend picking a theme. This is something that helped me rank up, was I picked a theme and I just stuck with it for a few weeks. So I'd say, I'm going to play this type of character with this color of clothing or whatever, and just take joy in the kinds of things I'm doing. I'm going to try to pull off these combos. I had objectives when I was going to the game that had nothing to do with winning or losing. And I would start the day and I played only 1 or 2 games a day because I had kids at this point. But it was really consistent for me because I was having fun. I was able to transfer that joy to the other people in the match, and like our teams just functioned better together, and we all had more fun. Of course, it doesn't work all the time, but if you want help with that, I would go to Stoic philosophers. As I've mentioned several times in this AMA, the Stoics have a lot of really great information about how to just wake up with the day knowing that you're going to come against these kinds of people. These kinds of people who can't tell good from evil, who like just wake up and they're cranky and they hate you and they're annoyed at you and they're going to do bad things to you, and like you know that that's going to happen and you can't really do anything about it. The only thing you can control is your own mindset towards it. So that helped me a lot when I was kind of ranking up. And I'm probably not the best example because I basically started in low silver, and then my son was going to be born in a few months, and I was like, okay, I need to rank up, see how high I can get before I never get to play again. And I got up to like Plat 3 in a few weeks, and then he was born, and that was like all I've ever done with League. But you know, I used a lot of the same lessons when I was doing competitive sport. So I think that the mastery-focused mindset versus the competitive-focused mindset is really the key here. And if you've ever done martial arts, then this is something you can lean on heavily. Because, I mean, when's the last time your sensei would come to you and say, like, you really got to beat this guy? Like when you're doing a practice spar. That's never going to happen. They don't want you to beat the other person. They want you to, like, master yourself. They want you to hold the position longer than you did it last time. They want you to, like, try as hard as you can in the spar and then respect your opponent at the end. Whether or not you won or lost doesn't matter.